paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Sorry about that. Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And I am bringing up another team of all female ghost hunters. This group is out of Pennsylvania, and one member who didn't make it tonight is out of Canada. I think she did make it, come to think of it. Yeah. So we got 3 out of Pennsylvania, 1 out of Canada. Don't ask me how they got together. I have no idea, but we'll talk about that. And during this, we were chatting earlier about whether women ghost hunting groups get the attention that the men get. I realize they don't on television, but you guys are watching this know it's probably running about 50-50, maybe a little more towards the women. For some reason, they're more eager to come on the show or more agreeable, call it what you will. I'm not sure. But is there a problem there? Is it real or imagined? And I think it's real. Like I said, my show's a little different, but what do we see on television? We see the ghost hunters, ghost adventurers. How many women were on that regularly? Very few. So let's talk about that and talk about ghost hunting in general with Bree, Becca, and Kay.
Hello.
Hello.
The Spirit Seeker Society. And first thing I want to ask is, how did you get in here from Canada with the Pennsylvania people? The
Canada here. Well, Canada popped in. Honestly, we all met through the Fear Club, which is what Project Fear they're called now. They used to be called Destination Fear. They started their own little app, and actually Bree slid into my DMs. So she slid in there. We got chatting.
Stalker.
Little bit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Storm problem.
Maybe, right?
Becca, how'd you get on with Bree, how did you get along with Becca and Kay here?
So I slid into Becca's DMs during one of their live streams, and we had just kind of in the chat, I saw that she was typing some things, and I was like, we'd probably be great friends. We hit it off, and then we started Spooky Happy Hour, and in our second season, we had asked
my computer kicked me out.
That's all right.
There she is. I was just telling him that I slid into your DMs knowing that we'd be best friends, and then we started Spooky Happy Hour after that, and Kayla was actually one of the Fear Club members that we had on for the second season.
Okay. Yeah. Now, when you say seasoned, what do you mean by that? Was this a internet show or a TV show or a podcast or something?
Just YouTube, but because I'm almost 35, I only talk in that slang. Episodes, seasons.
Gotcha.
Well, like our first season, we wanted to review Destination Fear episodes because I really wanted to review. I'm such a horror movie fan, and I really wanted to do that, but she kind of wanted to do the podcast side. So we just kind of combined ideas, and it just made sense. And then once we finished Destination Fear season 1, she kind of was just like, well, why don't we start interviewing people in between? And it just made sense to have Fear Club members on. And then down the road, we started meeting more ghost hunters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's intriguing. We talked, you put down on the site, you had just come back from a week-long road trip together.
We did.
Lay it on. What did you find?
lots of women in one hotel room, and we're all still alive. You know, like we're all still alive. We actually did really great. Super proud of us on that front.
Yes.
We did 3 paranormal locations back to back to back. One was in Pennsylvania, the Greene County Alms House in Waynesburg. And then we went to Old Hospital on College Hill in Williamson, West Virginia. And then we ended with St. Albans Sanatorium. And we collaborated with one of our friends and fellow ghost hunters, Kalani. And so we ended our awesome week with the Smoky Mountain Terror Expo in Tennessee. So it was a horror expo and, you know, some other paranormal related things, you know, people were there, but mostly it was a lot of like celebrities, horror actors, and the resort was awesome. And yeah, we kicked it. So it was probably like one of the best trips that we've had.
Yeah. And honestly, like we all just kind of wanted to go to the convention, and that was like our top main attraction. And then we're like, why don't we just make it a road trip? This makes the most sense. So I flew in, we drove down, and it was probably one of the best trips I've ever been on. I can tell you that much.
It was in the works for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then like when it finally happened, it was so surreal that we all got to do it. It was great.
Tell me about College Hill. I had the owner of that on the show about 1.5 years ago.
Oh,
how was
awesome. I think that it was the one, it was like the sandwiched one, right? Like we got the first one out of the way, but we were tired. And then we were so excited about like the very last one, because I think that was like it was building up to a really big location. And so we had definitely some activity for sure. And I will say, if I'm being honest, it wasn't as much as I thought that it would be. However, I mean, was it our energy that was off? Was it just, you know, one of those nights? It happens, right? And we're going to be authentic and real about that, because anybody who does this knows you're not going to get everything every time.
But that's not what Ghost Hunters did. After the second season, it was every day was a horror house in there.
Yeah, I think that there's a conundrum, right? Whenever you're producing content and maybe it's paying your bills, to say, okay, how do we present this in a way? And maybe it's not, you know, maybe it's really great editing. Maybe it's real creativity. Maybe it's a storyline that you get sucked into, and the lull of activity isn't what you remember about that show.
Or it was 4 days long of filming for a half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of these creators and TV, like they go and they get to spend multiple days. But with our trips, like we are, every night's a different location, and we are like packing it in there. So that's the big difference. And with us, like we were only there for we had more time there at Old Hospital than we did any of the locations, which was great. But that was the sandwiched one, and we got what we got, and that was it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know if y'all remember the first season of Ghost Hunters, the drama come from home life. It was always about the bald guy, whatever his name was, Jason, and his wife arguing or something. And I think they figured out that wasn't going to work. So they moved to more ghost stuff, whether it was real or not.
Yeah, I think Ghost Hunters probably was that was more of the ghost adventures. Of course, like definitely watched Ghost Hunters, but I think if like sometimes it's hard for me to remember what I had for breakfast. So 20 years ago, that first season, I'm like, I can't recall it off of the top of my head. But I do think that shows evolve a lot from where they started to, you know, where they end or where they currently are. And I know that one day, I'm sure, after we put out a lot more videos, maybe, you know, next year sometime, we'll be archiving those very first ones because, like, you know.
Right. All right. Well, have you done anything else other than those 3 as a team?
Yeah, we just came back from Warwick, New York this last weekend, where we did Mid Orange Correctional Facility. And so as a group all together, as our current 5, we've done 4 locations, but we also did a road trip in March where we went to the Hinsdale House and the Grand Midway Hotel in Windber, Pennsylvania. And so all of us have had different levels of experiences. All of us have, some of us for in May's trip, it was our very first investigation ever. So Kay, that was a different dynamic that Kay brought to that road trip. It was her first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Kay, what's your opinion of it? I know you're excited and all that, but was it what you dreamed of, or did you think it was a little more slow and quiet than you expected?
So I think I got like the whole that whole thing within the entire road trip. Our first night was Greene County Alms House, so it was just super surreal. Like I could not have asked for a better location as my first location overnight, and then doing it with your best friends by your side that you guys have. You know, like we've worked so hard on Spirit Seeker Society, and we had, like I said, like this trip has been in the works for 6 months. The first night, it was everything I had dreamed of. It was kind of like a pinch me moment. Like, am I really doing this? The following 2 nights, so St. Albans being the one we ended at and College Hill, like they provided different experiences, but nothing that was like a letdown. It was just, you know, this is something I had wanted to do for years, and I grew up dreaming about but never thought was possible. But, you know, there are shows out there and creators that will make it seem like it's all night, back to back to back. But you're actually sitting there for 6 to 8 hours and get 10, 20 minutes of actual activity if you're lucky. So it's just, it's not that it's not fun. It's just, you have to be realistic about it. And that perspective is really, that's really a fact of it. It was great.
Think the first time does get where you realize it's not, you know, like you said, back-to-back stuff. It's a lot of sitting and waiting, and
yeah, sometimes it's quite boring.
Yeah, honestly though, my first location was the Hinsdale House, and my experience was much different because probably 30 minutes we were there. I go outside and I see a shadow figure in the window, and then things just were popping off. And now that's like my favorite location, and I need to go back and sleep on the couch at some point. So mental note, everyone.
Well, and two, it was her first, the Hinsdale House was Becca's very first investigation, and we pull a tarot card to pick who does the solo, and we've each picked a tarot card that we believe like embodies like our own archetype. So that's what we use for solo time, and she actually got the very first solo of Spirit Seeker Society on her very first investigation. And she was a badass. She like made it the whole time. And yeah, it was great.
All right.
Yeah.
I have heard about the Hinsdale House. I don't know much about it. I did most of my ghost hunting from the Midwest, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois. Tell me about the Hinsdale House.
There's lots of different theories about what's at the Hinsdale House, and I think that everybody has their own. I think a lot of the stories that we're hearing, the majority of them are about some very evil type entity or something completely non-human, and that wasn't our experience. So who's to say what's really there? But I think that our truth, right, just based on our experience at the Hinsdale House, would be that it's not an evil, malevolent type thing. But that's our one experience. So
even looking at other people's stuff after going, like we did see a couple things outside, a couple things inside, and then looking back, like I've seen Nick Groff has been working on this. Him and his wife Tessa have been working on this location for like 10 years or something. And some of the stuff he pointed out that they got could potentially be what we got. We just didn't know what was going on because they're going on about there's something in the woods, and there's this woman who she may be demonic, she may not be demonic, or she could be something else like a woodland entity or something like that, but you never know. And I also believe too, like sometimes if you keep hearing a story and people keep repeating the story, you're actually maybe manifesting that story to come alive. So who's to say that we've created the Hinsdale House story, you know?
No, it makes sense. When I got into this, I worked with another team. I was never part of them, but we worked together. 2 of them, one of them had a demonic house. He lived in a demonic house, had to flee, understood that was his gig. And the other one was very Baptist. When you die, you go to heaven, you go to hell, that's it. Anything left is demons. And that's all they ever found was demons. I come in, get in the middle of them. All I ever find is Casper, because that's what I'm looking for, is happy, regular human ghosts.
Mhm.
And I finally got one of them convinced. He used to believe, like the Baptist one, used to believe that. Now it's like, okay, maybe there are human spirits that just don't want to cross over. Could that be part of it too? You find what you're looking for.
I think
You all were
sometimes.
not looking. You all were not looking for demonics, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
No, I think
So-
like we were very much open to the home to tell us what was going on. That was our first investigation as an entire team. Some of us
Mhm.
really like to do a lot of research. For me, on our Spirit Seeker Society is comprised of three different committees. And so for me and one of our other members, MJ, who's not here, we do like the research and kind of like logistical organization, planning road trips, that type of thing, making connections in our communities. And that was, I think, something I ran into, was that like a lot of what we thought that we knew about the place maybe not have been all correct.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
maybe some of the stories were accurate, but maybe they didn't happen exactly where we think that they did. You know, so I think that has like a big influence on certain stuff. Now we never claim to know everything about every location that we've ever gone to, but we do like to do our research. The only person who might not like to know too much about locations is Kay. She is working on developing some of her abilities, and on our very first road trip in March, she wasn't able to come, but she did some automatic writing, remote type viewing from
Really?
her house. And in the morning, we got a message from her with a timestamp from the night before and about all the things that she was getting about our experience. And we probably checked off every single one.
Most, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking about the Hinsdale house, I don't think that, negative things don't exist there. I just think that we spoke about it before you guys actually went to Hinsdale, and like we're not there to find that. We're there to let the house, like you said, Bree, tell the story. And when I was doing my automatic writing, I did get things saying like lurking in, looking in, and I'm pretty sure, was it Nick and Tessa that were like, there's the women in the lake, and I just kept getting like, watch out for the lake, watch out for the lake. And you guys even saw there was something looking in the window at you guys when you were in the house.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then we got, I don't remember what device it was on, but a spirit said, I'm not demonic. I'm not
Yeah.
bad.
That was the Estes when I
I
did
was
my
gonna say, I
Estes in the kitchen.
Becca was under
Okay.
Estes in the kitchen, and the rest of us were in the living room, and we really wanted to get to the bottom of that. And she just kept repeating it over and over again. It sounded just like our impression was it was a very angry spirit, that he was being maybe misinterpreted.
Okay.
Because the way it sounded, like, because Estes is my go-to. Like, I will literally, this past weekend, I was under for an hour and I was sat. I love it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but minor detail. But I could hear it in his voice, and you could tell he was an older man, and I could just hear it. And for some reason, I just sensed he was upstairs in a corner, and he was just saying like, I'm not a demon. Like, he just kind of like I'm frustrated. I'm sick of hearing this over and over and over again. Whether that's a trick or not, I don't know. But genuinely, I sense like he's annoyed, and like a lot of people go to that location. It's a hot spot. So I feel like there were people in there before us. There were people in there after us. So I can only imagine how the spirits feel. And if someone's coming into my house every single day, I'd be like, can you just leave? Like, I like my alone time. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Yeah.
So again, what I was getting at, do you think people find what they're looking for? Or I always kind of wondered if these guys didn't have a demonic presence kind of attached to one of them.
I mean, I think there's confirmation bias for a reason, right? Like, I think that sometimes you will see it through that lens. And I do think at the end of the day, you have to be able to check yourself. You may be like, you're allowed to have your subjective experience and believe what you believe, in that moment. And then maybe afterwards or 2 days later, you're processing that experience. And maybe you come back and say, oh, maybe it actually was this thing. Maybe I ate something ahead of time that wasn't agreeing with me, and that's why I don't feel good and I'm nauseated right now. Like, you know, whatever that might be. But I think that there's room for all of it. I think that if you are determined to find something, you probably will. And if you go in there and check your confirmation bias, you might find even more than what you originally looked for.
Do you think that when dealing with demonics, if that's what you're looking for, it's an invitation for them?
I can see that for sure.
I can see that, absolutely. And I think that they're selective. So I don't think that even if you go into, if any old person goes in there and says, you know, whatever they need to invite them to them, I don't necessarily mean that that's automatic. I think that then that demon may go in to evaluate that person and say, can I feed here? And if there's a lot of stuff that's left unchecked, if there's maybe trauma or grief or self-limiting belief, negative patterns, stuff that you haven't really confronted, that's their breeding ground. So I think that they're very selective in that manner.
Honestly, like we've been told, like spirits kind of know when you're coming. So if you have that thought, like, I want to find the most demonic thing, like I want intenseness, I want this to happen, I want things to pop off, I think things will come to you if you're looking for it. And I do believe, though, some of them will spout out like demon, devil, Satan, just to scare you. Because there are, like Kay said, there are negative entities, but I don't necessarily believe every time the D word comes out, that's what it means. And I feel like some people take advantage of it just for action, just for movie magic kind of thing.
Well, that was like
the way. Go ahead, Beck. Go ahead, Kay.
Sorry, that was like on our road trip in May. One of the locations, there was like a known spirit that was negative, not demonic by any means, but very intimidating, especially towards women. And so this location, I was in the basement with another person, and I think it was Spirit Box we had going, and it started to get very kind of trying to be intimidating. And so the demonic word came out, and a couple other things. It was like in moments like that, I mean, you can also feel the energy. We were not going in there with that intention. And I don't even think that really is a known thing there, if that's supposed to be there, but it's just, you have to realize that you're also in control, and they are going to try and intimidate you, and they're going to try and get you out of there, but you are in control in that point, and they are just literally they're just trying to get you out. They're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to show like, hey, I have the control, but no.
I really like the way you all think. It follows very close to the way I believe. So we'll have to talk more about this at some point. But tell me about your best experiences on this last road trip.
Last road trip. Dang.
I was gonna say, if we go to this last weekend,
have you not been able to get it all together? I was gonna
say, we're very much still processing our weekend. It was, I would say, that intense. I would say from our maze road trip, I saw my very first shadow figure ever, and that was something I didn't realize was happening in the moment. I legit thought that it was another person, and then when I realized that it wasn't, I was like, I know exactly what I saw. Now, is it on a camera? No. It was when I was setting up a camera down in that direction. But no, it's not on camera. But I think that was my most profound experience on our May trip.
Honestly, like, I was glad to start using stuff that we haven't really used before. Like, I absolutely love the mag light session. We started that up. It was so good at Greene County. And then I tried the ghost tube for the first time. And since I love Estes, also went under Estes with the ghost tube. And I plopped myself down in that suicide bathroom. And I absolutely lived for it. So that was probably what I enjoyed the most.
Okay.
I'd say, I don't know, I really like when we went on the May trip, like the mag light was pretty on point every single
Mhm.
night. At St. Albans, there was, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there was a double estes happening. And
I'm sorry, I lost you there. What?
oh, there was a double estes happening at St. Albans, and the way that that double estes played out and had both it was Bree and MJ. She's not here tonight, but she was under the other estes. They had no idea what each other was saying, and they were right. They were communicating, and then the spirits kept pulling in more people, and it was just, it put a whole story together. So seeing that play out was pretty intense and pretty cool to experience.
Okay.
And then at Greene County, we had a child come through while, I don't remember if we were under Estes yet or somebody was under Estes, but wanted to hold my hand. So I put my hand out, and you could, I don't know if you've ever experienced it before, but whenever you have like a spirit wanting to hold your hand, or it's just, I don't know how to explain it right now, but you know, and it happened at Greene County, and it was just very profound. But yeah, for me, that's probably those two.
I hope when you guys get another couple of tours like this done, you contact me and bring you back, because I like the way you describe it. It puts people right there in the middle of it.
Absolutely. We'd love to.
Hey, I've got to slip away for just a few minutes. Would you all hold on, and I will be right back?
For sure.
Of course.
All right. As much I do love talking to the new teams, and you know, I've talked to a bunch of new teams, as you all know, some of the old ones, and you all who watch this probably see what I'm seeing is that when's the last time you saw a group take turns in talking? Usually there's one that kind of takes control of it. The others speak a little bit, but yeah, this is an amazing group. They're very close. They're very good friends, and they're taking care of each other. And speaking of taking care, I do want to take care of some of your problems. Maybe this will help, and I'll be back.
The Unx Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unx Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unx Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com.
All right, friends, I do want to talk more about joining the NX Network, of course, which we always do at the last part of the show. But I do want to get back to the Spirit Seeker Society with Kay, Bree, and Becca. All right. Same as with before. Guys, I'm really impressed with the way you all handle it. And I think you are one of the first groups, if not the first, to act like a team here. Again, usually I get one person who takes over the talking and everyone else gets a word in edgewise if they try hard. So the friendship you have is really showing tonight. That's awesome.
And that's, I think, our main foundation, is that we wanted a community of women who were like-minded, who wanted to explore their own spirit and inside and out. And I think that we all do that really well.
Let me ask you, and I'll start with Kay. What happened that made you think this is really intriguing? Did you have an experience or just really dig the topic?
Just paranormal in general, you're asking?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I had an experience when I was younger. I've always had gifts of some kind that I didn't really explore or know much about until this last year. And this team has helped me explore that and support that more than ever, which is kind of going into my automatic writing and all of that, which we could talk about later. But I had an experience when I was little, and I grew up very religious, and I could see things, I could hear things that I was very curious about. But the one that kind of hooked me and kind of kept me going and just wanting to know why, or just more about the unknown in general, is when I was in 7th grade and I accidentally, not to my fault, got an attachment from a friend's house. And I had spent the night over at my friend's house, which I lived in Virginia at the time. And Virginia is very historic, very haunted. She had a very old farmhouse in Virginia, and it was a very well-known thing that her house was haunted. So you could literally lay upstairs at night and hear conversations going on downstairs. And her house had 2 front doors, one for the men and one for the women, because of how old the house was. But I had to have my parents come get me in the middle of the night because of this entity running around the bed, just messing with me in the middle of the night. My parents came and picked me up, and it affected our entire house so much that we had to have it blessed multiple times. Wow. And I can still see it just because of how scarring it was. And it just, at that point, like, it didn't, yes, when I was little, it scared me, but I've just always had that interest in knowing that I could see things that others couldn't, and feeling things and hearing. Growing up very religious, it wasn't always, supported to do or to find. And that's something that I've set out to within the Spirit Seeker Society, to show that it can be cohesive, and things can exist, and you can also have a relationship with God and also want to know why things happen and explore the unknown. So
of course,
definitely that experience just kept me going, and here I am, watched and read and researched, and never thought that this would happen, but here we are. So
Bree, how did you get involved in the paranormal?
Yeah, I think much like Kay, grew up in a very religious home and had an experience when I was younger that I couldn't make sense of. And for me, if I don't know everything that I can possibly know about a thing, I will not rest until that happens. I mean, if you tell me, hey, we're going to a new restaurant, I will tell you front and back the menu and the parking situation before we get there. So that's just what I really love to do. And I think that TV was the way into all of that. So Ghost Adventures, I feel like anybody who's millennial, at least my age. Rebecca will tell you the same thing. Like, this is really where we started. And for me, like, my college roommates will tell you that I like used to black out, curtain my room, put some candles on, and ghost adventure for hours. And it was just so intriguing to me that I always knew, you know what I mean, something was there, something was out there. And I've always loved the paranormal. I am an avid traveler, and back in my days before being a mom, you know, have been in the Paris catacombs and to concentration camps in Germany and just like really everywhere. But anytime that I've ever traveled, I've always made sure to stop at a haunted location, a haunted museum, something historical. So the history part really intrigues me too. And I think that the paranormal is a beautiful meld of the unseen and history. It's like this big link between the two. And oftentimes we forget about all those things before. And I think for me, the paranormal is a link back and forward that I'm kind of learning too. It's also something future oriented as well. So developing the podcast let me go down all of the rabbit holes that have intrigued me most of my life. And then I actually broke up with somebody, and 2 weeks later, I was on my very first real paranormal investigation ever. And then like a year later, you know, have my own team, and we went on a whole road trip, and I have 4 other amazing women who support me, not even just in the paranormal field, but in my daily personal life. And my world has totally changed.
Awesome. There's a quote in every book I've written: without history, it's just a campfire tale. And I still believe that. And I think that's what you're saying also. You got to have the history to have a good ghost story.
Absolutely. I think when you can connect it to real elements and then feel those places and be in those places and know what's happened before you, I think it takes the energy to a very different level. And my biggest thing that, you know, we talk about in the team is having a lot of respect for that. And if you don't have it, then, you know, we don't go.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Becca, what about you? What's your story on this one?
So I actually had a experience when I was quite young. I was probably about 6 years old. My grandma had passed, and she had given my mom, who was her mom, this very old clock that didn't work. We put it on the mantle, and I can vividly remember the moment, shot for shot, like a movie. I was on the couch. My dad was in the kitchen. This clock just started going off, just ding, 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 spinning, going crazy. My dad started freaking out, didn't know what to do. Checked it, no batteries in it. What's going on? This is weird. And he's the type of person that just doesn't really like that I do this. He's not really into the paranormal. So me being back home is great for him, but my mom's really into it. And when she came home, she kind of just glanced at the clock because it had stopped, and she goes, "Oh, that's the time my mom died." Just like casually said it. And we're like, okay, strange. I was very, very, very close with my grandma, even though I.
Oh.
Becca's grandma's actually like with her a lot too. We went to Penhurst Paracon, and we did a reading with somebody booth, and she actually, you know, talked about her grandma there. I was telling him about Penhurst Paracon, like knowing that your grandma was always with you, and kind of that picture that you had got to.
He like literally drew her, and then I took a photo of it, and I sent a photo to my mom, and I was like, "Who does this look like?" My typical mother goes, "An old woman." And I was like, "Who does it look like?" And she was like, "It looks like my mom." And I was like, "Yup." And then I did a session with Clarity by Katie, and she full on just acknowledged that my grandma's always with me. Apparently she watches horror movies with me. I tend to talk out loud a lot, like a crazy person. But I need to hear things out loud. And she acknowledged that. Do not stop doing that, because your grandma's actually listening, and she likes it as a conversation piece. But backing track to that clock thing, when we moved up here, my mom and I tend to bring up my grandma a lot, and we were just taking the dog for a walk. We come back into the house. I noticed this little rabbit thing. I was like, "Oh, where'd that come from?" And it was like a statue. And my mom's like, "Oh, I took it off my mom's grave. Just brought it home. Didn't want anyone to steal it." And I was like, ooh, spooky stuff's going to happen today. And literally walked through the door, and a clock on the wall is stopped on the time that she died. And I was like, stop. And then I
don't
took
even
it
think
off.
you told us that. What?
No.
Yeah, just stopped on the wall. I took it off the wall, looked at her clock that she had given us at the exact same time. And I was just like, I told you. And so ever since that, like, clock situation as a kid, I've always been attracted to the paranormal. We did have other things, like my one dog would go crazy in the house. We had stuff move around. My mom saw a gold figure standing over me. Don't know what that was. And my brother was also kind of like really tucked into the bed randomly one night. My mom didn't tuck us into bed, but she said that night he was fully tucked in, and there were two teddy bears sitting next to him, and they're the two teddy bears my grandma had given him. And she goes, weirdly enough, he was going on a school trip to where my grandma is from the next day. So my mom was just like, guess she really tucked him in for that trip. So yeah, that's kind of what my story was. Yeah.
We talked before the show, but I want to get your opinions on what we discussed about women in the paranormal, and are they being ignored by the larger group? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. That to me, there's no debate about doing it. Mostly because the patriarchal system gets into every single system that is out there. It's just like a known thing. I think that learning, again, going into like investigating mode, right? Like diving deep into things that I really love. Growing up really religiously, like strictly like Protestant faith, right? Having all these Bible verses that I could still probably recite off the top of my head. And just now knowing that there were so many women who contributed to the Bible that their pages are almost lost forever. Like Mary Magdalene was one who had a whole gospel, that she had. And I think that I'm coming into like more of my own just personhood. It's kind of like, I feel like a lot of people get there in their 30s where they're like, it's kind of like this on the fence moment. I'm either going to be liked because I'm going to go along with everybody else, or I'm going to be highly criticized, but at least I'll be true to me type thing. And just learning a lot more than the surface level that I feel like I've gotten has led me to believe, yeah, it's always been this way. It's always has been, men taking a lot of credit for women's work, or, I mean, even as early as some of the locations that we went to, like Trans-Allegheny, right? Like just men that could put their women, their wives, and admit them into inpatient psychiatric hospitals, and they're gone forever. They might spend 30 years that way with nobody being able to get them out. And so I think that there's so much that we can credit women for, whose names we do not know, whose contributions we really may never know. And I don't think that that's gone away just because it's 2025.
Honestly, though, I do think, like, yes, like these shows were male dominated. You're either a ghost hunters person or a ghost adventures person. And yes, they were both male dominant. But I think, honestly, like, as time has gone on, more women from seeing these shows, I feel like we've gotten inspired from everyone that's starting to do it. But then we have people like Patty Negri, Amy Bruni, even like Satori, like Jason Hawes's daughter. We're starting to see more young women, and Chelsea Layden, who is also part of Project Fear. She's the only girl on the team. But I feel like when we see women like that, we become more inspired, and we're like, why is there one girl on the team? Why don't they have more? And I think the more we see more women fully as a team together, it inspires other women to do it. And I think we're more intrigued in the paranormal part of things because I feel like women are so in tuned and our intuition picks up. We want to know the history. We want to see these locations because that's also a bonus point. Like some of these locations are gorgeous and Kay is our photographer and she can take some photos. So like sometimes you just want to capture that like essence of the location in a photo as well. But I feel like more women are starting to come out. Like you said before, like you have more women groups on your podcast than male. And I feel like we're getting there. We just need to keep keep moving, and I feel like we're all kind of pushing forward towards it.
Okay.
100%. I agree. And I know, like, we've talked about this before within our group, but it's very important for us to, all of us within this group, and like, I know other women think like this too, but to show up and show that we can do this. This is not our full, all of us have full-time jobs outside of this. And 3 of us are also moms. And I think all of us too also have something just on the side that we do. Like I have photography on the side outside of Spirit Seeker Society. Amy, she's a part of our group. She has like a whole custom embroidery and like shop she has, and Bree's, you know,
She makes our merch.
Yeah.
shout out to Amy.
Yeah.
And MJ, because you can't be here. But it's just, you know, it feels even more empowering because we know that we can do it. And it's just, I don't know. And being in a group of women, like I'm lucky to have, we've worked so hard on preparing ourselves and making this, making sure that we're really cohesive and work really well together. And everybody has become, like, we've just become best friends with it. So getting to do it alongside all of these amazing women and meeting other amazing women in the community as well. Like we really have met so many friends just at conventions and at some locations that we go to, we always try to even call out to the women's spirits and give them a chance to tell their story. So
yeah, I think we're very centered on our own womanhood and what that means to each one of us. And, you know, some of us are a lot more feminine, you know, than another. And some of us are very, like, some of us have very masculine kind of male dominated traits, if you would say, right?
Me.
And so, I would say Becca and I are like the fiery signs. Everybody else is a little bit more earth and water, but like we're mostly fire. And I think that we also balance each other out really well.
Yeah.
But, and like Becca was saying too, I think that we're just so in tune with ourselves. And I think like, I mean, even just chakra wise, like your lower ones are more masculine, your higher ones are more feminine. And so when you get into your third eye and your crown and like, you know, being able to connect a little bit more with like unseen, I think we all take some of those matriarchal archetypes into our own, and we use them as ways to like embody the empowerment that we feel together. And I think that that makes us a lot more prepared and well oriented for investigating.
Okay. Oh, sounds intriguing, and I have to throw in with you on a lot of it. Yes, I agree. Let me ask you one more question for the last few minutes we've got. And Becca, we'll start with you. What's the one place you've got to hit in the next couple of years? What's the
Don't
place
take
you really
mine.
want to go?
I know what you're gonna say. Don't do it.
Does it start with a W?
Yes.
It's all right. We can have the same opinion.
As a group, I think it's accurate. Like, I think we have one as a group that we could say.
Okay.
Well, I have to say it because I really want to go to the Winchester Mystery House because one, it is like a straight up fun house. And two, I don't know why, but this is probably going to happen when we go. I want to do a solo in there and get lost. So have that, if you will.
Is that place really haunted, or is it just a great history and a weird looking house?
I could have a whole podcast episode about that. I swear.
No,
Okay.
I think it's both. And I hate to be this person to bring Ghost Adventures up again, but like their last episode at the Winchester, they didn't ghost hunt. They did a seance, and they brought in like Houdini's like lineage, like great grandson, and they got some wild stuff. So
Really?
oh, yes. They got some crazy stuff. Even Patty Negri can attest to that. But I don't know. Everyone who seems to go, I feel like you just get something completely different every time. Either you're just in a different spot completely and you have no idea where you are, or like you'll just get a different experience. And I don't know. That place just draws me. Sorry, guys. Pick a different location.
Oh, I'm gonna go down the list in my brain for mine.
Trying.
What's number 2? Hey, go ahead.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I have 2 that I'm battling, but I can't remember the name of one, so I might just have to say the Washoe Club.
Mhm.
Is that what
Is
you were
that-
gonna say, Bree?
No, nope. I got like 3 of them that are rattling. One of them will spout out in a second.
Is that in Illinois?
No,
Nevada.
that's in Nevada.
Oh, no, okay.
Yep.
And
And then
why
the other
in
one-
that place? I don't know anything about it. I
I mean,
thought
it's
it was
just
a club.
it's a little notorious, I would say. But the whole town is just known to be haunted, and it's
Yeah.
just being in that town. There was what was
Oh,
it?
she'll be back.
Yeah,
Right?
she'll be back. I don't know. That was just one of the places that I first heard of. That was just one of the ones you knew about that a lot of the paranormal growing up, like teams on TV would go to. And it's just stuck ever since. And I have yet to see a team go there with and come out with no evidence.
I recently interviewed a lady ghost hunter from Las Vegas, but she didn't mention that one. She mentioned some other stuff, but we didn't get to that one. So
Yeah.
we'll have to figure that one out.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bree.
Oh man, darn it.
gosh.
Okay, definitely Winchester Mystery House. I feel like it's just been on there for a long time. I actually I did my very first seance 2 weeks ago with Patty Negri, and it was like the best thing in the whole wide world. And I did ask her about the Houdini seance, and it was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
So one, I just want to do whatever she wants me to do ever again with her because she's so cool. But I think that I'd probably go like international, so like Poveglia Island in Italy. I think that Ghost Adventures episode really just like was so crazy to me that I was like, oh my god, this stuff exists and it's really out there, and this is like the seclusion, the isolation. I think it just takes it a little bit of a different level that I haven't done yet. And for me, I am a lot like the thrill seeker, I guess. Like I'm gonna push a little bit of the boundaries, but not going to do it disrespectfully or unethically or anything like that. But I do like to push myself to see like what I can handle. And I think something international where the history is richer might be more paranormally amplified, and I'd like to
Okay.
see that.
Yeah.
Send me anywhere international. I didn't even think. I don't know why that didn't cross my
When
mind.
you when you said international, I was like, oh, Loftus Hall. I want to
Right?
go there.
Ireland would be great.
Yes, I'd love to see the castles in Ireland and Scotland. Just to
Mhm.
say I've been.
Scotland.
Well, ladies,
Yeah.
I have to go, but thanks for being on. And again, you're such a great team. There's no rivalry here. It's so awesome.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. We had a great time.
Well, we'll have to get you back soon. And right quick, you got a podcast called the
Spooky Happy Hour
Spooky Happy Hour, and where can it be found?
on YouTube and Spotify every other Thursday at 2:22 p.m. Eastern.
All right, what's the basic idea? Are you just talking amongst yourselves, or do you bring guests in?
So yeah, it's just me. Sometimes we do have an episode that's going to be coming out with the whole team, kind of like an introduction
Okay.
episode, but I do mostly interview style with paranormal investigators, psychics, mediums, spirit therapists. I mean, you name it, I got it. It's an occult podcast where I dive really deep into all of the subjects that I'm really interested in. And we just came from the Creep It Real Festival 2 weekends ago, so I'll be having some interviews out with Ernie Atwell, Santiago Cirillo, Patty Negri, Blue Bodie. So that'll be coming soon.
All right, and that is Spooky Happy Hour?
That's right.
Okay. All right, well, thanks again, ladies. You've been awesome, and we'll get you back soon. I do want to get you in touch with my friends over in Sinister Sisters, too.
Yeah.
That would be
Absolutely.
great.
Okay, would
Thanks
you
so
all
much,
hang around a little bit, and I'll be right back with you, okay?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Wow, that was a ride. I can't say I've said that before, but that one was a ride. They're a blast. Hey, real quick, because we're running out of time, I do want to remind you, UNX Network, you join up. You go to unxnetwork.com, put some information in. You get so much out of that, and among it is monthly by email. You get the magazine that we have. You can get it in print, but they will send it to you for being a member by email. And it's got some really good writers. We've got, well, before he passed, Lee Spiegel did some outstanding work in it. And this one is about time anomalies. The other one's a ghost. That was the October issue. I had 2 stories in there, including the haunted battleship North Carolina. This one here was a more recent edition where I did a special article just on dolls. But of course, we had folks talking about the Greene County Museum. We had the Fort Dix story, quite a bit, really. The magazines go everything. Cryptids, UFOs, witches, vampires. I've had a couple of good vampire articles I've written. And of course, ghosts. This one here, there was an old restaurant from the 50s called the Tri-County Truck Stop. I was on the first investigation ever there. It was extremely haunted, just crazy place. And I managed to go back multiple times. It was one of those places that I could always go back to. Did a lot of charity work in there too, ghost hunts for charity. And recently, the Devil's Diner, as I call it, was hit by a tornado and all but destroyed. I believe, well, the article I wrote, it's called The Last Call at the Devil's Diner because it's gone. But there's always good articles by some of the top guys. Like I said, they even let me write now and again. So you may want to check that out. There's also a blog that's been burning up lately. Gosh, there's more Tic Tacs, more government people, military people coming out and talking about their UFO stuff. Cryptids being seen. We had Mothman over the Missouri River recently. So a lot of stuff going on. You get that as it occurs. As soon as it comes out, the blog is out. And there's a lot more to it too. On XCon, which we have every year. This year we're going back to our roots and doing it over the internet. Cheaper that way. You don't have to have a hotel room. You don't have to travel, pay restaurants. My God, I just went on vacation, never had a meal for under $100, except one breakfast at McDonald's. So a lot going on. You can get advance notice of the XCon, plus the magazine, the blog, the newsletter, and a lot more too. So check all of that out. And friends, I'm going to have to cut loose here. I can't believe we made it with the storm outside, but we did good. And again, I want to thank my guests. I want to thank you all and remind you it is summertime. Stay hydrated, stay cool. And I guess the most important thing I can ask you is stay spooked. Good night.